At 3 in the morning, a phone call woke me up. The name flashing on the screen made me freeze for 2 seconds. Vanessa Sterling. My wife. We had been married for 7 years, and she had never called me at this hour before. Ethan, come to the hospital. Her voice was calm. So calm it sounded as if she were talking about the weather. Before I could ask what had happened, she hung up. Outside the window, it was raining lightly. Spring in Southport was always like this, wet, sticky, like a sponge that could never be wrung dry. I put on a jacket and started my 5-year-old black Volkswagen. There were almost no cars on the road. The wipers scraped across the windshield again and again, making a harsh squeaking sound. When I reached the inpatient building of Central City Hospital, the elevator took me straight to the VIP floor. The hallway was quiet. The lights were deathly white. Vanessa's assistant stood outside the ward. When she saw me, her expression became complicated. "Mr. Ford, Miss Sterling is waiting for you inside." I nodded and pushed the door open. Vanessa was sitting on the sofa beside the hospital bed. She wore a beige trench coat, her hair pinned up perfectly. She did not look like someone visiting a patient. She looked like she had just stepped out of an important board meeting. Lying on the hospital bed was Chairman Sterling, the founder of Sterling Group. His eyes were closed. His face was wax yellow. An oxygen tube was inserted into his nose. The line on the monitor beside him moved slowly. "How is Dad?" I asked, walking to the bedside to look at the old man's face. Vanessa did not answer. She took a document from her bag and placed it on the coffee table. "Ethan, let's get divorced." The sentence poured over me like a basin of cold water. I turned and looked at her. She still wore that same expression. Calm. Composed. As if discussing an ordinary business deal. "What did you say?" "Divorce," Vanessa repeated, her tone without the slightest fluctuation. "I've had the lawyers draft the agreement. Look it over. If there's no problem, sign it." I walked over and picked up the document. The paper was thick. The cover had a law firm's name stamped in gold. I opened the first page. Dense legal terms filled my vision. But I still understood the most important part. Compensation, $56 million. Effective upon signing. Why? I put the document down and looked into her eyes. Vanessa avoided my gaze and stood, walking to the window. Outside was the city at night, neon lights blurring in the rain. "There's no why. I just don't want to continue." "You don't want to continue?" I laughed once. 7 years, and all you give me is, "I don't want to continue"? "Ethan, don't be like this." For the first time, impatience entered her voice. "It's better for both of us if we part on good terms." "Who is he?" When I asked that question, my heart was beating very fast. Vanessa was silent for several seconds. Then she said, "You don't know him." "I don't know him." I stared at her back. "Then tell me who he is." "Is that necessary?" "Yes." She turned and looked at me. In her eyes was something I had never seen before. Indifference. Complete and absolute indifference. "Since you insist on knowing," she paused, "it's Jason." "Jason." "Jason Carter. My college classmate. 3 years ago, he entered Sterling Group and became Vanessa's secretary. I had always thought he was an honest man. Every time he saw me, he called me Ethan respectfully. He often even helped me bring things to Vanessa." "How long?" 1 year. 1 year? My voice was shaking. "You've been together for a year?" "Ethan, I don't want to explain this." Vanessa sat back down and picked up the document. "Sign it. The $56 million will be in your account immediately. It's enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life." "I don't want the money." "You don't want the money?" She frowned. "Then what do you want?" "I want an explanation." "There's nothing to explain." She pushed the document toward me. "Sign it." I stood there, looking at this woman. 7 years ago, she was not yet chairwoman of Sterling Group. Back then, she had just returned from studying overseas and taken over her father's company. The pressure on her was enormous. I met her at a friend's party. She wore a simple white shirt, her hair tied in a ponytail. When she smiled, 2 shallow dimples appeared. That night, she drank too much and crouched by the roadside, throwing up. I took her home. She leaned against my shoulder, half drunk, and murmured, "Ethan, you're so good to me." Later, we got together. She was busy, so I waited. She worked overtime until late at night, so I brought her midnight snacks. She traveled for business, so I packed her luggage. I thought that was marriage. Plain. Steady. Standing beside each other through life. Only now did I realize some people are never truly yours from the beginning. Vanessa Sterling, I said, my voice hoarse, did you ever love me? She looked up at me. There was not a ripple in her eyes. I did. When? Before. When was before? She fell silent. Inside the ward, only the beeping monitor remained. And the soft sound of rain outside. Suddenly, I felt tired. A kind of exhaustion that seeped from between my bones, leaving me without even the strength to be angry. Fine. I'll sign. I picked up the pen and flipped to the last page. The signature line was blank, waiting for my name. When the pen tip touched the paper, my hand shook. But I still finished writing. Ethan Ford. 2 words. 7 years of marriage ended. Vanessa took the document, glanced at it, and put it into her bag. The money will arrive within 3 days. No need, I said. I don't want it. You don't want it? She froze. 56 million, and you don't want it? I find it dirty. The moment I said that, I saw her expression change for an instant. But only for an instant. She quickly returned to that composed face. Suit yourself. After saying that, she stood and carried her bag toward the door. At the door, she stopped. Oh, right. The day after tomorrow, Jason and I are getting engaged. If you want to come, you're welcome. The door closed. Her footsteps gradually faded. I stood where I was, looking at the empty hospital bed. Chairman Sterling was still lying there. At some point, he had woken up. He opened his eyes, his cloudy gaze on me. Kid. I'm sorry. The old man's voice was weak, as if each word used all his strength. I shook my head. It's all right, Dad. Don't call me Dad. The old man closed his eyes. I don't deserve it. I said nothing. I stood there for a long time. Only when the nurse came in to check the room did I leave. When I walked out of the hospital, the rain was still falling. I did not use an umbrella. I walked through the rain like that. Water ran down my hair, into my collar, cold against my skin. My phone rang. A text message. Unknown number. Ethan, I'm sorry. I truly love her. Jason Carter. I looked at the message and suddenly laughed. The sound traveled far down the empty street. A passing taxi driver glanced at me and quickly sped away. The next day, I did not go to the company. I was vice president of Sterling Development, Sterling Group's real estate subsidiary. Vanessa had given me that position. Back then, she said, Ethan, come be vice president and help me share some of the burden. So I went. And I stayed there for 5 years. Thinking about it now, perhaps from the beginning, she simply wanted an obedient tool. That afternoon, my phone rang again. It was HR. Mr. Ford, your leave request today. I resigned. The other side went silent for a few seconds. Mr. Ford, you're joking, right? No. But Ms. Sterling. She'll handle it. I hung up. Then I opened the closet and began packing. Everything in this house belonged to Vanessa. The house was hers. The furniture was hers. Even the flowers and plants on the balcony were bought by her. The only things I could take were a few sets of clothes and the laptop on my desk that I had used for 3 years. After packing the suitcase, I looked around this place where I had lived for 5 years. On the living room wall still hung our wedding photo. In the photo, she smiled happily, leaning in my arms. I walked over and took the frame down. On the back, there was a line of small writing. To hold your hand and grow old with you. I had written that. I put the photo frame into the trash. When I dragged my suitcase downstairs, I ran into Mrs. Walker from next door. Ethan, where are you going? Business trip. Oh, then be careful on the road. I will. Thank you, Mrs. Walker. I smiled and pulled the suitcase out of the neighborhood. No destination. I just walked aimlessly. Passing a convenience store, I went in and bought a bottle of water. The television at the cashier was playing local news. Sterling Group chairwoman Vanessa Sterling announced today that she will hold an engagement ceremony tomorrow with Secretary Jason Carter. On the screen, Vanessa wore a white suit, smiling. Jason stood beside her in a tailored suit, glowing with confidence. Reporters surrounded her. Chairwoman Sterling, was your divorce from Mr. Ford due to emotional incompatibility? Yes. When did you and Secretary Carter begin? That is our private matter. It's not convenient to disclose. Some online accuse you of cheating during marriage. What is your response? Vanessa's smile faded slightly. Rumors stop with the wise. I looked at the screen and took a sip of water. The water was cold. It chilled me from my throat all the way to my stomach. On the third day, the engagement banquet arrived. I had not planned to go. But Vanessa sent an invitation, specifically asking Jason to deliver it downstairs to my building. Jason wore a black suit, his hair slicked until it shone. When he saw me, he had a humble smile on his face. "Ethan, you must come tomorrow. Vanessa said you're an honored guest." "Sure." I took the invitation and casually placed it on the shoe cabinet. Jason stood there, seeming to want to say more. In the end, he only nodded and left. Watching his retreating back, I suddenly remembered something. Sterling Group's core technical patents seemed to all be under my name. That had happened 3 years ago. Chairman Sterling had fallen seriously ill and handed the company to Vanessa. But the old man had left a backhand. He transferred all holders of the core technology patents to me. At the time, I asked him why. The old man said, "Vanessa has too much ambition. I'm afraid she'll go down the wrong path. You guard these for her." I agreed. Over the years, I had managed those patents. Every year, I transferred the licensing fees to the company account on time. Not a cent missing. But now, I took out my phone and dialed a number. "Hello, Attorney Lowell." "Mr. Ford, hello. I want to ask something." "Please go ahead." "If patents under my name are no longer licensed to a certain company, what procedures are needed?" The other end went silent for a few seconds. "Mr. Ford, those patents are currently exclusively licensed to Sterling Group. If you want to terminate authorization, you need to give written notice 3 months in advance." 3 months? Yes. The contract states that. What if I simply don't renew? After expiration, you are free to decide whether to renew. When does it expire? The 15th of next month. I hung up. Outside the window, the sunset was perfect. Golden light spilled across the floor. I suddenly laughed. I laughed until tears nearly came out. On the 4th day, the engagement banquet was held at a 5-star hotel in the city center. I wore a gray casual suit and no tie. When I arrived, the banquet hall was already full. Sterling Group's partners. Business friends. Some media reporters. Vanessa stood on the stage, wearing a custom white gown. Jason held her hand, smiling like a groom. The host was reading blessings. "Let us wish this couple a lifetime together, hand in hand, heart to heart." Thunderous applause filled the hall. I found a corner seat and sat down. A server brought over a glass of red wine. I accepted it and took a sip. Sitting beside me was Sterling Group's technical director, Mark. When he saw me, he froze. "Mr. Ford? Why are you here?" "I was invited." "Oh." Mark looked awkward. "Mr. Ford, are you all right? What could be wrong with me?" "I just heard, you and Chairwoman Sterling." "We're divorced," I finished for him. "Yes. Divorced." Mark opened his mouth, not knowing what to say. I patted his shoulder. "It's fine. It's all over." The ceremony continued on stage. Vanessa and Jason exchanged rings. Then Jason took the microphone and began his speech. "Thank you to all our guests. Thank you to Vanessa for giving me this chance." He spoke with emotion, even his eyes turning red. Some people applauded. Some wiped away tears. I held my wine glass and quietly watched it all. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. It was Attorney Lowell. "Mr. Ford, patent license expiration reminder. 30 days until expiration. Would you like to initiate renewal?" I replied with 3 words. "No need." After sending that message, I lifted my head. It happened to meet Vanessa's gaze. She stood on stage, looking at me. There was a trace of confusion in her eyes, and a trace of unease. I smiled at her and raised my glass from a distance. She frowned and looked away. After the ceremony was the buffet. I was about to leave when Jason walked over. He held a small tray with delicate candy boxes on it. "Ethan, have some engagement candy." He smiled and handed the box to me. "Red box. Gold ribbon." "Thanks." I accepted it and casually put it in my pocket. "Ethan, I know you must feel bad." Jason lowered his voice. "But I truly love Vanessa. I'll take good care of her." "That's good. You really don't care?" Does caring change anything? He looked at me, as if trying to judge whether my words were true. Finally, he smiled. Ethan, you're a good man. Am I? Really? Vanessa also said you're a good man. Thank her for me. I turned to leave. He called after me again. Ethan, I heard you still hold some shares in the company. Would you consider transferring them to me? I can pay a high price. I stopped. Then I turned back and looked at him. Secretary Carter. No, I should call you Mr. Carter now. Do you know whose hands Sterling Group's core technology patents are in? His smile froze. What do you mean? Nothing much. I smiled. I'm just asking whether you know. Those patents, aren't they all company property? Are they? I looked at him, smiling meaningfully. His face changed. Ethan Ford, what exactly are you trying to say? Nothing. I patted his shoulder. Congratulations on your engagement. After saying that, I turned and left the banquet hall. Behind me came Jason's voice. Ethan. Stop right there. I did not look back. When I walked out of the hotel, the sky outside was already dark. Neon lights flashed, and traffic flowed. I took out the candy box, opened the wrapper, and peeled one piece into my mouth. Milk candy. So sweet it was cloying. I chewed twice and swallowed. My phone rang again. Vanessa. I answered. Ethan, what did you say to Jason? Her voice was urgent, without the calm she had before. Nothing. Then why did he suddenly come to me saying we need to check the company's patent ownership? You should know better than I do. Ethan. What did you do? I didn't do anything. I said, I only chose not to renew. Renew what? The patent license. The other end fell silent. For a long time. Ethan, you can't do this. What can't I do? Those patents belong to the company. Really? I laughed. But the patent certificates have my name on them. You. Vanessa Sterling, didn't you say we should part on good terms? But you're destroying the company. What I'm destroying, I said, is you. A sharp sound came from the other end. Like a phone hitting the floor. Then the call ended. I looked at the black screen and put the phone back into my pocket. Then I lifted my head and looked at the stars. What a beautiful night. The next morning, my phone was blown up. The first call came from Mark in the technical department. As soon as the call connected, his voice exploded. Mr. Ford. Something huge happened. What happened? The suppliers suddenly stopped providing raw materials. They said they received notice that our patent licensing has a problem, so they don't dare continue cooperation. I leaned against the headboard, my tone calm. Is that so? Mr. Ford, tell me the truth. Are those patents really in your hands? Yes. The other end went silent for several seconds. Then, what do you plan to do? I haven't decided yet. Mr. Ford. You can't be impulsive. More than 3,000 employees in the company depend on this for their livelihoods. I know. Then you. Mark, let me ask you something. Yes? How have I been in the company all these years? Mark hesitated. Mr. Ford, you're a good person. Good to subordinates. Serious about work. But what? But you were too honest. Whatever Ms. Sterling said, you listened. Jason Carter climbed right over your head, and you didn't make a sound. We all felt angry for you. I laughed. And now? Now. Mark sighed. To be honest, it feels satisfying. But satisfying is one thing. If the company collapses, the guys won't have food to eat. Don't worry. I won't let the company collapse. Really? Really. But I need a little time. All right, Mr. Ford. I'll wait for your news. After hanging up, I got up and washed. The person in the mirror looked a little haggard, with obvious dark circles under his eyes. But my mind was clear. There was a kind of lightness rising from deep in my bones, like a 1,000-pound weight had finally been lifted. I had just finished brushing my teeth when the phone rang again. This time, it was the finance director, Owen. Mr. Ford. The bank called. They said they need to reassess our credit line. Why? They said they received a risk alert that the company's core technology may have ownership disputes. Then let them reassess. Mr. Ford. That won't work. Our liquidity is already tight. If the bank calls the loan, the company won't last 3 months. Owen, how many years have you worked at the company? 12. 12 years. I repeated it. Then you should know what the company's true core asset is. Those patents? Correct. Without those patents, Sterling Group is an empty shell. Owen fell silent. Tell the bank not to worry. I'll handle the patent issue. Mr. Ford, are you sure? I'm sure. I hung up, changed clothes, and went downstairs for breakfast. The breakfast shop downstairs was doing great business, with a long line. The owner recognized me from far away. Ethan, how do you have time for breakfast today? I resigned. I'm free now. Resigned? She froze. Weren't you a vice president at that big company? Why resign? Didn't want to do it anymore. Oh, what a pity. Didn't that company pay well? It was all right. I ordered a bowl of soy milk and 2 fried dough sticks, then found a corner seat. Just as I took a bite, my phone rang again. This time, it was Vanessa. I answered but did not speak. Ethan, where are you? Her voice was exhausted, like she had not slept all night. Having breakfast. We need to talk. About what? The company. What does the company have to do with me? We're already divorced. Ethan. Can you stop being like this? Like what? You know exactly how important those patents are to the company. Doing this is revenge against me. I took a sip of soy milk and said slowly. Vanessa, those patents were mine to begin with. Back then, I promised Dad I would guard the company for you. Now I'm tired and don't want to guard it anymore. Is that a problem? But you promised Dad. Dad asked me to guard Sterling Group. He didn't ask me to let you and your secretary mess around in my marital bed. The other end went quiet. I could hear her breathing. Fast and uneven. Ethan, I know I wronged you. But the company is innocent. More than 3,000 employees are innocent. You can't let so many people suffer because you hate me. I don't want anyone to suffer. I'm only taking back what belongs to me. How much money do you want? I'll give it to you. I don't want money. Then what exactly do you want? I want you to regret it. After saying that, I hung up. The fried dough stick had gone cold. The soy milk was empty. I wiped my mouth and paid. The owner smiled and said, Ethan, come by often when you have time. Sure. Walking out of the breakfast shop, the sunlight was good. I wandered slowly down the street, watching shops open one by one. The fruit seller was arranging his stall. Steam rose from the bun shop. Delivery riders flew past on electric scooters. The city continued operating as usual. But some things were already different. At 10 in the morning, I received the third call. It was Chairman Sterling. Ethan, come to the hospital. The old man's voice was weak, but his tone allowed no refusal. Dad. Don't call me Dad. Just come. I took a taxi to the hospital. Still that VIP ward. Still that hospital bed. Chairman Sterling leaned against the headboard, his face worse than a few days before. But his spirit was better. His eyes had light. Sit. I sat in the chair beside the bed. The old man looked at me for a long time. Kid, you've grown up. I froze. Before, you were always obedient and submissive. Vanessa said anything, and you listened. I worried you'd be controlled by her for life. You're not worried now? Not anymore. The old man smiled, showing sparse teeth. If you can do something like this, it means you know what you're doing. You don't blame me? Blame you for what? For failing to guard my disappointing daughter? The old man shook his head. I spoiled her. Since she was little, whatever she wanted, I gave it to her. She thinks the whole world should revolve around her. Dad, let me finish. The old man raised a hand to stop me. In my life, my greatest achievement was founding Sterling Group. My greatest failure was failing to teach Vanessa properly. Her mother died early. I was both father and mother. I always felt I owed her, so I wanted to give her the best of everything. In the end, I raised her into someone selfish. She thought the world belonged to her. She thought you would obey her like everyone else. The old man coughed several times. I hurried to pour him a glass of water. He drank and continued. But you disappointed her. You taught her that not everyone in this world must indulge her. So you did well. I looked at the old man, not knowing what to say. Ethan, I called you here today not to persuade you to let it go. The old man said, I want to tell you that whatever decision you make, I support you. But the company. If the company is gone, it can be rebuilt. A person lives for breath, a tree lives for bark. If you let it go just like that, I would look down on you for the rest of my life. His hand was thin and covered in age spots. But when he held my hand, his grip was powerful. Go. Do what you want to do. This old man has lived more than 70 years. What storms haven't I seen? Even if Sterling collapses, I can afford to lose. My nose stung. Dad, thank you. Don't thank me. The old man released my hand. This is what I owe you. After leaving the hospital, I received the fourth call. Jason Carter. Ethan Ford, what exactly do you want? His voice was irritable, completely without yesterday's composure. I don't want anything. Do you know what the company looks like now? Suppliers stopped shipments, banks are calling loans, shareholders are making trouble. Isn't that great? What's great about it? If the company collapses, you won't gain anything either. What wouldn't I gain? I laughed. I'm not part of Sterling anymore. You. Jason Carter, didn't you say you love Vanessa? Now it's your time to perform. Go on. Save the company. Ethan. Don't bully people too much. I'm bullying people too much? I laughed aloud. When you slept with my wife, why didn't you think you were bullying people too much? Jason was choked silent. Just wait. I won't let you off. Sure. I'll wait. After hanging up, I felt especially good. The sun was bright. The birds sang. The flowers smelled sweet. I decided to buy a milk tea to celebrate. The girl at the shop had a ponytail and a sweet smile. Sir, what would you like? 1 pearl milk tea, 30% sugar, with ice. All right. $15. I scanned to pay and took the milk tea. 1 sip. The pearls were chewy, and the tea was strong. I leaned against the railing outside the shop and watched the crowd coming and going. Suddenly, I felt this was life. No schemes. No false affection. Only a cup of milk tea and a rare moment of peace. But that peace did not last long. At 2 in the afternoon, my phone rang again. This time, it was Vanessa's private number. After hesitating, I still answered. Ethan, where are you? Shopping. Shopping? Her voice rose 8 degrees. The company is about to collapse, and you're shopping? What else should I do? Cry at home? You. Vanessa, you're no longer my wife. Whether your company collapses has nothing to do with me. But those patents are yours. Aren't you afraid they'll lose value too? No. I said, I have 56 million. Enough to spend. Didn't you say you didn't want it? I changed my mind. The money already arrived. Thank you. A loud crash came from the other end. Like something being smashed. Ethan. You'll regret this. I already regret it. I said, I regret wasting 7 years on you. Then I hung up and turned off my phone. The world finally quieted. After finishing the last sip of milk tea, I tossed the cup into the trash. Then I hailed a taxi and went to a small town outside the city. It was where I grew up. The town was not big. One main street cut through north and south. Old apartment buildings stood on both sides, peeling paint revealing red brick underneath. The market looked the same as before, with vendors shouting one after another. The fish seller had the loudest voice. I could hear him from far away. Fresh carp. Caught this morning. I walked over and took a look. The carp in the tank were lively, splashing water onto my pant leg. Sir, 2 fish. Sure. The man skillfully scooped up 2 fish and put them into a plastic bag. Young man, you don't look like you're from town. I lived here when I was little. Oh? Where was your home? At the end of Old Street, beside the big locust tree. The man slapped his thigh. That was the old Ford house. You're the Ford kid? Yes. Haven't seen you in years. After your parents moved away, that house stayed empty. I came back to look. Good, good. Take the fish. No charge. That won't do. Why not? We're from the same neighborhood. What's 1 fish? I still stuffed the money into his hand. Carrying the fish, I walked down Old Street. The road was still the same road, full of potholes that filled with water on rainy days. Most houses on both sides had been renovated. Only my old family house remained as it was. Gray tiles, white walls, wooden door, brass lock. Moss covered the front steps. I took out the key and inserted it into the lock. Click. The lock opened. Pushing open the wooden door, a musty smell rushed out. The courtyard was full of weeds. Green moss filled the cracks between stone slabs. The main room door was half open. I pushed it open. It was empty. All the furniture had been moved away, leaving only an old square table. In the corner hung a black and white photo. My grandfather. I walked over and wiped dust from the frame. "Grandpa, I'm back." The man in the photo smiled silently. "I stayed in the old house all day. Cleaned. Cleared weeds. Fixed the leaking faucet. In the evening, I went to the town supermarket and bought a quilt and pillow. That night, I slept on the floor of the main room. The conditions were rough, but I slept more soundly than I had in years. No nightmares. No insomnia. I slept until dawn. The next morning, birdsong woke me. Opening my eyes, I saw sunlight spilling through the window, warm and golden. I stretched, got up, washed, and went to the street to eat wontons. The owner of the wonton shop was still the same woman from before, though her hair had turned much whiter. "Ethan? Is that really you? Aunt Hannah, long time no see. Oh my. You've grown so much. I heard from your mother you work in the city. Why did you come back? Taking time off. Good, good. Rare for you to come back. Eat more. Aunt Hannah treats you." "No, no. I have money. You child. Why be polite with me?" She insisted on adding 5 extra wontons. After breakfast, I returned to the old house and sat on the stone bench in the courtyard, sunning myself. I turned my phone on. Dozens of missed calls. Most from the company. Some from media. I was too lazy to look and deleted them all. Then I called Attorney Lowell. "Attorney Lowell, how is the patent matter progressing?" "Mr. Ford, I've issued formal notice to Sterling Group. Starting from the 15th of next month, all patent licenses will be terminated." "Good. Also, several other companies have contacted me and expressed willingness to purchase usage rights at high prices. No rush. Mr. Ford, are you planning to?" "I want to do it myself." The other end went silent for a few seconds. "Mr. Ford, you mean, starting your own company?" "Yes. But that requires significant investment. I have 56 million. That should be enough." Attorney Lowell smiled. "Mr. Ford, you've finally figured it out." "Yes. I finally have." After hanging up, I opened my laptop and began drafting a business plan. Although I had been only a puppet vice president at Sterling Group these years, I had learned the business. Real estate industry rules. Supply chain management. Market operations. I understood them better than anyone. Before, I had no chance and no desire to fight. Now it was different. I wanted Vanessa to see exactly what she had thrown away. 1 week later, I registered my new company. Forward Path Technologies. A simple name. It meant walking my own road forward. I chose an office in a city center tower and rented an entire floor. The recruitment ad went out, and hundreds of resumes came in that same day. Many were from former Sterling Group employees. Mark was the first to call. "Mr. Ford. I heard you opened a company." "Yes. Are you short of people? I'll resign and come work for you." "Are you sure? Sterling pays you well. What's the point of good pay if the boss is rotten? Working there is suffocating." "All right. Come over. The technical director position is reserved for you." "Perfect." Next came Owen. "Mr. Ford. Is the finance director seat still open? I kept it for you. I'll resign tomorrow." Then Martin from sales. Lewis from engineering. Zoe from procurement. One after another, all core people from Sterling Group. In just 3 days, I took nearly half of Sterling Group's middle and senior management. Vanessa went completely mad. She personally came downstairs to my new company and blocked me. "Ethan. What exactly are you trying to do?" She wore a black suit, her hair a little messy, eyes red and swollen. It was obvious she had not been doing well these days. "Nothing much. Just starting a company." "You poached so many of my people. Aren't you deliberately trying to destroy me?" "They came on their own. I didn't force them." "You. Vanessa, instead of arguing with me here, you'd better go back and think about how to keep the people you still have. You think you won?" She gritted her teeth. "You think opening a company means you can beat me? I'm not trying to beat you." I said, "I'm just trying to live my own life." "You're lying. You want revenge. Even if I do." I smiled. "So what?" She raised her hand, wanting to slap me. I grabbed her wrist. "Vanessa Sterling, this isn't your home. Touch me again, and I'll call the police." She froze. Looking at me, Tears suddenly fell. Ethan, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. Please forgive me, okay? No. I can break up with Jason. We can remarry. I can give you the company too. As long as you return the patents. Vanessa. I released her hand. Do you know? Even now, you still don't understand why I'm doing this. Then tell me. Tell me. It's not because of the patents. Not because of the company. I said, it's because you never treated me as an equal person. You treated me as an accessory. Something you could call over and wave away. You thought if you threw some money at me, I'd obediently leave. But I'm not a dog. She stood there with her mouth open, unable to speak. Enough. Leave. Don't come again. I turned and went upstairs. I did not look back. Behind me came her sobbing. But I did not stop. A month later, Forward Path Technologies officially opened. The ceremony was simple. No media. No show. All employees simply had a meal together. Mark raised his glass, face red. Mr. Ford. Let me toast you. Cheers. I drank it in one gulp. Mr. Ford, to be honest, I used to think you were too soft, Mark said. I never expected that once you got tough, you'd be this impressive. People are forced into change. Exactly. Come on, another glass. That night, everyone drank too much. I did too. When I got home, I fell onto the bed and passed out. In the dream, I saw my grandfather. He sat in the old house courtyard, fanning himself with a palm fan. Kid, you did well. I smiled. Grandpa, I didn't embarrass you, did I? No. He patted my shoulder. You're stronger than your father. I wanted to say something, but the dream ended. When I woke up, the sky outside was already bright. A new day had begun. Forward Path's operations went smoothly. Because we had Sterling Group's original team, the business quickly got on track. And because we controlled the core technology patents, many clients who had previously worked with Sterling turned to us. Sterling Group's order volume dropped 60% in 1 month. Vanessa panicked. She began cutting prices, running promotions, even taking jobs at a loss. But it was useless. Without core technology, the products she produced could not keep up in quality. Clients were not stupid. For the same price, of course they would buy the better product. 2 months later, news broke that Sterling Group's cash chain had snapped. Banks began calling loans. Suppliers began demanding payment. Shareholders began selling stock. Vanessa begged everywhere, but no one was willing to help her. Business is realistic like that. When you are successful, everyone holds you up. When you fall, everyone avoids you. Jason also ran at this time. It was said he took the last $2.8 million from the company account and fled overseas. Vanessa reported it to the police, but they said the evidence was insufficient to file a case. Only then did she realize that Jason had been scheming against her from the beginning. All that so-called love had been for her money and status. When she came to find me, she had lost a full circle of weight. She wore a cheap down jacket and stood downstairs at my company. Security would not let her in, so she waited at the entrance. When I got off work, I saw her crouched on the steps. Her hair was messy. No makeup on her face. She looked 10 years older. Ethan. She called me. I stopped and looked at her. Something wrong? I want to say a few words. Say them. It's cold here. Can we find somewhere warm? After hesitating, I took her to the cafe downstairs. She ordered a hot Americano, holding the cup with both hands to warm herself. Ethan, I'm bankrupt. I know. The house was sealed by the court. The car was towed away. I'm living in a rental now. $800 a month. Oh. You have nothing to say? What should I say? Congratulations? Tears fell from her eyes. Ethan, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you like that. I shouldn't have been with Jason. I regret it. I really regret it. Regret changes nothing. Can you lend me some money? Once I recover, I'll definitely pay you back. I looked into her eyes. Those eyes that had once been full of confidence and pride now held only pleading and despair. I took $1,000 from my wallet and placed it on the table. Take it. Thank you. Thank you, Ethan. I'll definitely pay you back. No need. I said, consider it the last bit of affection from once being husband and wife. She froze. Ethan, you still hate me, don't you? I don't. I said, Hating someone is exhausting. I just want to live well. Then can we still be friends? No. She lowered her head. Tears fell into the coffee. I understand. She stood, took the money, and walked out of the cafe. Outside, snow was falling. Her figure disappeared into the wind and snow. I sat there, looking out the window. The coffee went cold, and I did not drink it. My phone rang. It was Mark. Mr. Ford. Good news. Sterling Group officially filed for bankruptcy. Shouldn't we celebrate? Celebrate what? Celebrate that we won. There's nothing to celebrate. I said, when your opponent is gone, winning doesn't mean much. Mark went silent for a while. Mr. Ford, you're right. Then what do we do next? Do our own work well. After hanging up, I paid and walked out of the cafe. The snow was getting heavier. A thick layer had already covered the ground. I stepped through the snow, walking back one step at a time. Behind me, a line of footprints remained. Soon, fresh snow covered them. Just like the past. Time would bury it eventually. 3 months later, Forward Path Technologies won the largest project in the industry. Total investment, more than $140 million. On signing day, I stood on stage, facing hundreds of guests. Flashes clicked non-stop. Reporters rushed to ask questions. Mr. Ford, what do you think of the former Sterling Group's bankruptcy? Mr. Ford, what is the key to your success? Mr. Ford, what are your plans for the future? I smiled and spoke into the microphone. The key to success is never handing your fate to someone else. Thunderous applause filled the room. I looked below the stage. In the crowd, one figure looked familiar. Vanessa. She stood in the corner, wearing an old padded coat, strands of gray in her hair. She looked at me with a complicated gaze. Envy. Regret. And something unclear. I nodded to her. She nodded back. Then she turned and disappeared into the crowd. That night, I sat alone in my office. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows was the city's night, thousands of lights glowing. I opened a drawer and took out a photo. It was my wedding photo with Vanessa. In it, she smiled happily, leaning in my arms. I looked at it for a long time. Then I put it back into the drawer and locked it. Some things, once past, are past. Some people, once missed, are missed. Life is like this. There is no road back. Only forward. The road ahead is long. But one must keep walking. I turned off the lights and left the office. The hallway was quiet, with only my footsteps. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside. The doors closed and descended slowly. When I reached the parking lot, I started the car. The radio was playing an old song. How much love can start again? How many people are worth waiting for? I turned it off and drove home. There were not many cars on the road. Streetlights retreated one after another. Suddenly, I remembered something. Today was Chairman Sterling's birthday. I turned the car around and drove to the cemetery. The old man had passed away half a year ago. Late-stage liver cancer. By the time they found it, it was already terminal. The day he left, I stayed beside his bed. He held my hand and said, "Kid, take care of yourself." I said, "I will." Then he closed his eyes and never opened them again. The cemetery was at the foot of a mountain. Very quiet. I bought a bouquet of chrysanthemums and placed it before his grave. His name was carved on the stone, along with one line. Lived with integrity. No regrets. I crouched and wiped dust from the headstone. "Dad, I came to see you." The wind passed through the trees, leaves rustling softly. As if he were answering. "The company is doing well. Don't worry. Vanessa, she isn't doing well now. But I can't help her. She chose her own road, and she must finish it herself. You were right. A person lives for breath. I understand now." I stood and bowed 3 times before the grave. Then I turned and left. When I walked out of the cemetery, dusk was falling. The sunset stained the horizon red. I got into the car and started the engine. My phone rang. An unfamiliar number. "Hello, is this Mr. Ethan Ford?" "Yes. I'm a reporter from Finance Weekly. We'd like to schedule an interview with you. Would that be convenient?" "Sorry. I'm not interested. Mr. Ford, our magazine has a large circulation. It would help your company's publicity." I said I'm not interested. I hung up. Half a year later, ForwardPath had become a dark horse in the industry. From zero to a valuation of $280 million, it took only 1 year. Many said I was lucky and caught the right market trend. Others sourly said I had climbed up using the corpse of Sterling Group. I heard all of it and never cared. Business is war. Winners and losers. There is nothing to argue about. That afternoon, I was reviewing quarterly reports in my office when the desk phone rang. "Mr. Ford, there's a woman at the front desk looking for you. She doesn't have an appointment." "What's her name?" "She said her last name is Sterling." The pen in my hand paused. Vanessa? What was she doing here? Since that meeting at the cafe, we had not contacted each other again. I heard she had moved to a small county in the neighboring province and worked as a cashier in a small supermarket. Her monthly salary was just over $2,000, barely enough to live. Let her up. A few minutes later, there was a knock on the door. "Come in." The door opened, and the woman who entered made me freeze. It was not Vanessa. It was Vanessa's younger sister, Emily Sterling. She was 5 years younger than Vanessa and had been studying overseas. I had met her fewer than 10 times. Emily wore a white dress. Her long hair fell over her shoulders. Her makeup was light. She looked younger than her age, like a recent college graduate. "Brother-in-law." She called me that once, and her eyes reddened. "Don't call me brother-in-law anymore. Your sister and I are divorced." "I know." She wiped the corner of her eye. "But I'm used to it. I can't change it immediately." "Sit. Want something to drink?" "No. I'll say a few things and go." She sat on the sofa, fingers twisted together, looking nervous. "What happened?" "My sister is in the hospital." I frowned. "What illness?" "Stomach cancer. Early stage." I was silent for several seconds. "What did the doctors say?" "They caught it early enough. The surgery success rate is high. But..." She bit her lip. "The surgery costs around $28,000. With follow-up treatment, at least $42,000. My sister has no savings. The house and car are gone. I just graduated and have no money." She lifted her head and looked at me, eyes pleading. "Brother-in-law, I know I have no right to ask you. But I had no other choice, so I came. Can you lend me $42,000? I'll write an IOU. Interest can be twice the bank rate. I'll definitely pay you back within 5 years." I did not answer immediately. I stood and walked to the window, looking down at the traffic below. 42,000 was nothing to me. ForwardPath's daily turnover was more than that now. The question was whether I should lend it. I still remembered clearly how Vanessa had treated me. She forced me into divorce in the hospital. She had been with Jason for a year and hid it perfectly. She gave me $56 million to make me leave. Those things were like knives in my heart. Even if the wound had healed, the scar remained. "Brother-in-law." Emily's voice sounded behind me, carrying tears. "I know my sister wronged you. But she's already miserable enough. Her work is gone, and her body has collapsed. If you don't help her, she may really not survive." I turned and looked at her. "Does your sister know you came?" "No. I didn't dare tell her." "Why?" "She has too much pride. She would never let me come to you. But I can't just watch her die." Emily's tears finally fell. "Brother-in-law, please. Even if it's for my father's sake. Chairman Sterling. That old man who, on his hospital bed, had told me, you did well. Before he died, he held my hand and said, take care of yourself. He did not ask me to take care of Vanessa. But I knew he still could not let go of his daughter." I sighed. "Give me the account." Emily froze, then hurriedly took out her phone and found the bank account number. I transferred $56,000. "The extra money is for nutrition and recovery." "Thank you, brother-in-law." "Thank you." Emily stood and bowed repeatedly. "I'll definitely pay you back. I swear. No rush. Treat the illness first." Thank you, thank you." She left crying. The office became quiet again. I sat back in my chair and looked at the quarterly report on my screen, but I could not read a word. Outside, the sky darkened. Dark clouds hung low. The weather forecast said there would be heavy rain tonight. I shut down the computer and prepared to leave. Just as I reached the elevator, my phone rang. An unfamiliar local number. I answered. "Is this Mr. Ethan Ford?" "Yes. This is Officer Reed from the Southside Police Station." Do you know a woman named Vanessa Sterling? My heart sank. I know her. What happened? She collapsed outside a pharmacy in our jurisdiction. A passerby called the police. We sent her to Central City Hospital, but she has been unconscious. We found your number in her phone. You are listed as emergency contact. I froze. After all this time, she still had my number listed as emergency contact? I'll be there immediately. I hung up and rushed into the elevator. The rain outside had started. Huge drops struck the car windows with loud cracks. I drove through several red lights. When I reached the hospital, I went straight to the emergency room. Emily was already there, crouched by the bed, crying so hard she could barely breathe. Vanessa lay on the bed, face pale, an oxygen tube in her nose. The monitor line jumped slowly. A doctor stood nearby, reading the test report. Doctor, how is she? The doctor looked up at me. Are you family? I'm her ex-husband. Oh. The doctor nodded. The patient fainted from overwork and malnutrition. In addition, she has stomach cancer, so her immune system is weak. She needs to be hospitalized for observation. Is it serious? She is not in life-threatening condition for now, but she must rest well. She cannot continue exhausting herself. Her diet must also be managed. I let out a breath. Emily looked up and froze when she saw me. Brother-in-law, why are you here? The police called me. Oh. She wiped her tears. Thank you for coming. It's fine. I stood by the bed for a while, looking at Vanessa's face. She had lost a lot of weight. Her cheekbones protruded. The wrinkles at the corners of her eyes were deeper. There were a few strands of white in her hair. She was only 35, but she looked like someone in her 40s. At that moment, the resentment in my heart suddenly faded. Not forgiveness. It just felt unnecessary. She had already paid the price for her choices. If I kept holding on, what meaning would it have? A nurse came to change Vanessa's medicine and said she needed rest, asking us to step outside. Emily and I sat on a bench in the hallway. It was quiet, with only the occasional phone ringing at the nurse station. Brother-in-law, are you hungry? I'll buy you something. No. I'm not hungry. Then I'll get you water. She stood and went to the water dispenser, pouring a cup of hot water. I accepted it and held it in my hands. When is your sister's surgery? Next Wednesday. How is the surgeon? The best specialist in the province. A friend of Dad's introduced him. That's good. After a moment of silence, Emily suddenly spoke. Brother-in-law, did you ever hate my sister? I glanced at her. I did. And now? Now. I can't really say. Actually, my sister regretted it later. Emily lowered her head and looked at her toes. She told me many times that she was blind back then. She shouldn't have treated you that way. She and Jason were together at first because he deceived her. Jason had a sweet mouth and knew how to say pretty things. My sister grew up being praised by everyone, and she couldn't resist that kind of temptation. Later, she found out Jason didn't truly like her. He only wanted her money and connections. But she was already riding a tiger and couldn't get off. The company needed Jason to help manage things, and she couldn't hold on alone. Then you left, the company collapsed, and Jason ran. Only then did she truly understand who had been good to her. I listened without speaking. Outside the window, rain kept falling against the glass. But all of that came too late, right? Emily smiled bitterly. The harm had already been done. No words could change that. Yes. I know. So I never ask you to forgive her. I just want you to know she regretted it. That's enough. She stood and stretched. Brother-in-law, go home first. I'll stay here. Can you handle it alone? I'm 25. I'm not a child. If anything happens, call me. Okay. I stood and walked a few steps toward the exit. By the way, brother-in-law. I looked back. Thank you. Really. I nodded and left. When I stepped out of the hospital, the rain had softened. The air was fresh, carrying the smell of wet earth. I stood beneath the eaves and lit a cigarette. I had quit smoking 2 years ago. Today, I broke it. Smoke drifted into the rain and quickly disappeared. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Emily. Brother-in-law, my sister woke up. She wants to see you. I looked at the screen and hesitated for a few seconds. Then I put out the cigarette and turned back toward the hospital. Inside the ward, Vanessa leaned against the headboard, still pale. But her spirit was better than before. When she saw me come in, her eyes brightened. "Ethan, you came." I sat in the chair beside the bed. "Thank you for bringing me to the hospital." "It wasn't me. The police called." "Oh." She lowered her head. "Then thank you for coming. Emily told me your situation. I've already paid the surgery fees. Just focus on treatment." Her shoulders trembled. She lifted her head, eyes red. "Ethan. I'm sorry. Don't say that. Rest well." "No. Let me finish." She grabbed my hand. Her grip was not strong, but it was firm. "I know nothing I say matters anymore. But I still have to say it. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you that way. I shouldn't have given up someone who truly loved me for a liar. I've made many mistakes in my life. The biggest was losing you." Tears slid down her cheeks and fell onto the blanket. "I don't ask you to forgive me. I only want you to know that I regret it. Every day, every night, I regret it." I looked at her and said nothing. There was some bitterness in my heart. But more than that, there was release. The resentment that had pressed inside me for so long finally scattered at this moment. "Vanessa, let the past stay in the past. Does that mean you forgive me?" "It's not about forgiveness," I said. "I just don't want to carry those things anymore." She smiled, though her tears fell harder. "Thank you, Ethan. Rest well. When you recover, start over." I stood and patted her hand. "I'm leaving. Rest early. Ethan." Can we still be friends?" I thought for a moment. "Wait until you recover." She smiled. This time, it was a real smile. "Okay." I walked out of the ward and closed the door. Emily stood in the hallway, leaning against the wall, looking at me. "Brother-in-law, thank you." "Don't call me brother-in-law. Call me Ethan." "Okay, Ethan." She smiled, but her eyes were red. I patted her shoulder and left. When I walked out of the hospital, the rain had stopped. A corner of blue sky appeared, and sunlight broke through the clouds. I took a deep breath. The air was fresh, carrying the clean scent after rain. My phone rang. It was Mark. "Mr. Ford, good news." "What good news?" "We won the Provincial Industrial Park project." "Really?" "Really. The notice just came. Total investment, $210 million. Great. That's great. Mr. Ford, should we celebrate tonight?" "We absolutely should. Notify everyone. Dinner is on me tonight. Pick any place you want." "Perfect." After hanging up, I could not help laughing. A $210 million project was enough to take Forward Path to the next level. I opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. The engine started, and the car slowly left the hospital. An old song played on the radio. "Waited so long, finally waited for today." I hummed along. The car merged into the main road. Sunlight poured through the window, warm on my skin. The road ahead was long. But I was not afraid. Because I knew that as long as I kept moving forward, I would eventually see the light. 1 week later, Vanessa's surgery was successful. The doctor said that if she recovered well, her 5-year survival rate could reach over 90%. Emily messaged me and said Vanessa wanted to thank me in person. I said there was no need. Let her focus on recovery. Another month passed. Forward Path's new project officially began construction. On the day of the groundbreaking ceremony, many officials and media came. I stood on stage, cut the ribbon, gave a speech, and accepted interviews. Everything went smoothly. After the ceremony, I returned to the office. As soon as I sat down, my phone rang. "Vanessa." After hesitating, I answered. "Ethan, I was discharged today. Congratulations. Thank you for paying my medical bills. I'll pay you back. No rush. Take care of your health first." That. "I want to invite you to dinner as thanks. Do you have time?" I thought about it. "Sure. When?" "This Saturday night. Is that okay?" "Yes. You choose the place." "Okay. I'll send you the address." After hanging up, I looked out the window, lost in thought. The sunset was fading. The sky was orange-red. I did not know what this dinner meant. Maybe farewell. Maybe a new beginning. But whatever it was, I was ready. Saturday night, I arrived at the restaurant according to the address. It was a small place hidden in an alley. Quiet environment. Simple decor. Vanessa was already waiting in a private room. She wore a plain sweater and had cut her hair short. She looked much better. Although still thin, her complexion was far healthier than when she was hospitalized. "You're here. Sit." I sat across from her. "I found this place by accident. The owner cooks very well, especially the steamed sea bass. Can your stomach handle that?" "A little is fine. The doctor said I need to keep a good mood. Only then will my appetite improve." She smiled and poured me tea. "Ethan, this cup is for you." "For what?" "For your generosity. For not holding old grudges." I lifted the teacup and clinked it with hers. "Let's not bring up the past." "All right. No more." She lifted the cup and drank it in one go. I drank too. The dishes came quickly. Light home-style food. Steamed sea bass. Garlic broccoli. Tomato egg soup. Braised ribs. She ate very little, spending most of the time watching me eat. "Why aren't you eating?" "My appetite is small. I can't eat much." "You eat more. I ordered these for you." I picked up a piece of rib and ate it happily. "Ethan, how has your company been recently?" "Pretty good. We just won a major project." "I heard. The $210 million industrial park project, right?" "How did you know?" "I saw it on the news." She smiled. "You're famous now. The financial channels report on you every day." "Just lucky." "Not luck." She looked at me seriously. "You have the ability. Back when you were at Sterling, I knew you were stronger than me. I just refused to admit it." I did not respond. I lowered my head and drank soup. "Ethan, I want to tell you something." "Go ahead." "I plan to donate all the remaining assets of Sterling Group." I lifted my head and looked at her. "Donate them?" There's no use keeping them. The company is already bankrupt. The leftover equipment and inventory won't sell for much. Better to donate them to mountain schools. At least it will do some good. Have you thought it through?" "I have. After going through this illness, I also figured things out. Money is something we don't bring at birth and don't take at death. Enough to live is enough. Too much becomes a burden." She smiled. There was a lightness in her smile I had never seen before. Before, I always thought more money was better. For money, I could sacrifice anything. But now I understand that some things are more important. Like health. And sincerity. She looked at me. I didn't understand before. Now I do. "Unfortunately, it's too late." "It's not too late." I said, "You're only 35. Your life has just begun." She froze, then smiled. "You're right. Life has just begun." After dinner, I paid. She insisted on splitting the bill, but I refused. I said I'd treat you. "How can I let you pay?" "Then next time, I'll treat you." "Okay." When we walked out of the restaurant, it was already dark. The streetlights in the alley were yellow, stretching our shadows long. "How are you getting back? Want me to drive you?" "No. I'll take a taxi. Be careful on your way." "You too." She stood beneath the streetlight, looking at me. "Ethan, thank you. Not only for the medical fees, but also for showing me what true kindness looks like." "Don't say that. I'm not that good." "You are much better than I thought." She said, "I'm leaving. Goodbye." "Goodbye." She turned and walked toward the intersection. After a few steps, she turned back. "Ethan, if one day you meet someone worth loving, cherish her well." "I will." She smiled, then turned and disappeared into the night. I stood where I was and watched her back vanish. In my heart, there was an indescribable feeling. Not regret. Not relief. But peace. Like after a long storm, the sky had finally cleared. I got into the car and started the engine. The radio was playing an old song. "How I wish to see you again, to see how you've changed." I hummed a few lines, then turned off the radio and focused on driving. The road ahead was wide. The streetlights were bright. I stepped on the gas, and the car moved steadily forward. The next morning, I received a call from Emily. "Ethan. My sister donated all the remaining company assets." "I know. She told me yesterday. She also said she wants to go teach in the mountains." I froze. "Teach?" "Yes. She said she wants to go to the mountains in Guizhou and be an elementary school teacher. She said she wants to do something meaningful." I was silent for a few seconds. "Can her body handle it?" "The doctor said as long as she has regular checkups and rests properly, it's fine. Besides, the mountain air is good." Maybe it'll help her health. That's good. Ethan, do you think my sister has changed? She has. She's changed so much I almost don't recognize her. Before, her head was full of money and power. Now she actually wants to teach in the mountains. People change. That's true. Emily smiled. Okay, Ethan, I'll hang up. I still have to help her pack. Okay. After hanging up, I stood by the window and looked at the sky. The weather was good today. Not a cloud in sight. Sunlight fell across the glass curtain walls of the high-rises and reflected bright light. Vanessa was going to the mountains to teach. The news surprised me, but also felt reasonable. Once she decided something, she always charged ahead without turning back. She had been that way before. She was still that way now. Only before, she had chased fame and profit. Now, she was chasing peace. That was good. Everyone had their own road to walk. If she could find the life she wanted, I was happy for her. As for my own road, I knew it clearly too. Forward Path would keep growing. But not to prove anything. Not to take revenge on anyone. Only to realize my own value. I returned to my desk and opened my computer. My inbox had many unread emails, most related to work. I read and replied to them one by one. By the time I finished, it was noon. I stood and stretched, preparing to go downstairs for lunch. Just as I reached the elevator, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. Is this Mr. Ethan Ford? Yes. I'm a reporter from Southern Profiles. We would like to do a feature story about you. Would you be interested? What kind of feature? A story about private entrepreneurs and startup journeys. We think your experience is representative, from ordinary employee to self-made founder of Forward Path. It's very inspiring. I thought for a moment. All right. But I have one condition. Please. The focus should be on the company's development. Don't overemphasize my personal life. No problem. Shall we arrange a time for an in-depth interview? Fine. Coordinate with my assistant. Thank you, Mr. Ford. I hung up and entered the elevator. The doors closed and descended slowly. I watched the floor numbers change. A thought suddenly flashed through my mind. If Vanessa had never betrayed me, what would I be like now? Maybe I would still be vice president at Sterling Group, living a routine life every day. Maybe we would already have a child, a warm little family. But those were only assumptions. Reality was that she chose another path. And I was forced onto this one. Looking back now, this road actually suited me better. Sometimes, losing something is only so you can gain something better. I never used to believe that. Now I did. The elevator reached the first floor. The doors opened. I stepped out, and sunlight fell warmly on me. In the flower bed by the entrance, several roses were blooming vividly. Red, pink, yellow, swaying lightly in the breeze. I took a deep breath and stepped into the sunlight. The road ahead was still long. 1 month later, Emily sent me a video. In the video, Vanessa stood on the platform of a worn classroom. Behind her was a battered blackboard with the words addition, subtraction, multiplication, division written on it. She wore a washed-out plaid shirt, her hair tied into a ponytail, smiling. More than 20 children sat in the classroom. Their skin was dark, their eyes bright. They read aloud with Vanessa. Their voices were clear, traveling through the screen into my ears. Ethan, look at my sister. Isn't she like a completely different person? Emily wrote. She has changed. She gets up at 6 every morning to prepare lessons and grades homework until after 10 at night. I asked if she was tired. She said she was tired, but happy. That's good. She also said that when summer vacation comes, she wants to bring a few children to the city to broaden their horizons. I said okay, and asked if you could help arrange it. No problem. I put down the phone and looked outside. The sunlight was perfect, shining on the office tower's glass curtain walls and reflecting gold. Forward Path's development was smoother than I had expected. The industrial park project had completed its main structure and was expected to be delivered early next year. Company revenue broke through $140 million. Our employees had expanded from a few dozen to more than 500. I bought a new home. Not big. 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. Enough for me. Life every day was simple. Work. Home. Occasional meals with Mark and the others. A little wine. On weekends, I would return to my hometown and stay in the old house for 2 days. The osmanthus tree in the courtyard had bloomed, filling the whole yard with fragrance. I sat beneath the tree, drinking tea, reading, and staring into space. Life was ordinary, but steady. That afternoon, I was inspecting the construction site when my phone rang. It was Vanessa. Since she went to teach, we contacted each other occasionally, but not often. Usually, she sent photos of the children, or asked me some questions about company management. She said the school lacked funds and wanted to find sponsorship. I answered, "Ethan, are you busy? At the site. What happened? I want to ask you for one thing." "Say it." "There's a student at our school named Little Stone. He's 12 this year and has excellent grades. But his family is poor. His parents work out of town, and he lives with his grandmother. A few days ago, his grandmother fell and broke her leg. His parents can't come back. He has to go to school and care for her alone. He can't hold on anymore. He wants to drop out." I was silent for a few seconds. "You want me to help him?" "Not help me. Help him." Vanessa's voice choked slightly. "This child is really smart. If he drops out because of family circumstances, it would be such a pity. How much does he need?" His grandmother's surgery and follow-up treatment cost around $7,000. The school organized donations and raised over $1,000. They're still short about $6,000. Send me the account. "Ethan, thank you. I'll pay you back." "No need. Consider it my small contribution to the children. Then I'll thank you on Little Stone's behalf." After hanging up, I received a bank account by text. I transferred $14,000. Then I sent Vanessa a message. "Use the extra money to buy books and sports equipment for the school." She replied with a crying emoji, followed by 3 words. "Thank you." I did not reply. I put away my phone and continued inspecting the site. The project manager walked beside me, reporting progress. I listened and nodded. The sun was a little hot on my face. But my heart was peaceful. Helping others truly felt much better than revenge. That night, after showering, I lay in bed scrolling through my phone. In his social feed, Mark posted a photo of his daughter's college acceptance letter. Caption: 18 years. Finally made it. I liked it. Then I saw a news article. Former billionaire businesswoman appears as volunteer teacher in Mountain Village, sparking online discussion. The accompanying image showed Vanessa teaching in a classroom. She stood at the blackboard, holding chalk and writing. The children below looked up, listening seriously. The comments said all kinds of things. Some said she was putting on a show. Some said she was escaping reality. Others encouraged her. I scrolled through the comments and did not leave one. I turned off the phone and switched off the light. In the dark, I closed my eyes. Vanessa standing at the podium appeared in my mind. She had lost a lot of weight. But she looked well. There was a light in her eyes that had never existed before. That light was called hope. Maybe this was the life she truly wanted. Far from the noise of the city. Far from disputes over interests. Among innocent children, finding the self she had lost. I turned over and fell asleep. Early the next morning, I received a call from Emily. "Ethan. Something happened to my sister." My heart sank. "What happened?" "Last night, she went on a home visit. On the way back, she encountered a landslide. A falling rock hit her leg." "Where is she now?" "At the county hospital. The doctor said her calf is fractured and she needs to be transferred to the provincial capital for surgery." "I'll arrange it immediately." After hanging up, I contacted the best orthopedic hospital in the provincial capital and arranged an ambulance and specialist team. Then I transferred Emily $30,000. "Use this first. Tell me if it's not enough." "Thank you, Ethan." I put down the phone and sat in my office, my heart beating fast. Outside the window, the sky was gloomy, as if rain was coming. I stood and walked to the window, looking down at the traffic below. "Vanessa, please don't let anything happen to you." At 3 in the afternoon, Emily sent a message. "Ethan, my sister has been transferred to the provincial hospital. The surgery was successful. The doctor says she'll recover after 3 months of rest." I let out a breath. "That's good. My sister asked me to tell you not to worry. She also said that when her leg heals, she'll go back to teaching. She really is stubborn." "Yes." Emily smiled. "But this version of her is much cuter than before." "Indeed." After hanging up, I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. My mind was messy. I realized I still worried about her. Even though we were divorced. Even though she had hurt me. Hearing that she was injured still made me anxious. It was a strange feeling. Not love. Not family. More like habit. When someone has existed in your life for 7 years, even after separating, you cannot erase all traces of them completely. I opened my eyes and picked up the phone. I sent Vanessa a message. Rest well. Don't rush back. The children won't run away. After a while, she replied. Okay. I'll listen to you. Looking at those 4 words, I smiled. Then I put down the phone and continued working. 3 months later, Vanessa's leg healed. She returned to the mountains to continue teaching. Before leaving, she sent me a photo. In it, she stood on crutches at the school gate. Behind her, several large words were written on the wall. Study hard. Improve every day. She smiled, eyes curved like crescents. I'm going back. Thank you, Ethan. Take care. You too. I saved the photo and placed it in a special folder. The folder was named Past. Inside were some old photos of me and Vanessa, and photos from Chairman Sterling's final days. I did not plan to delete these memories. Because they formed my life. Good or bad, they were all things I had to experience. Another year passed. ForwardPath Technologies successfully listed, its market value breaking $1.4 billion. On bell-ringing day, I stood in the exchange hall, surrounded by flashes and cheers. Mark held a glass of wine, his face red. Mr. Ford. We made it. Yes. We made it. I raised my glass and clinked it with everyone. At that moment, my heart was not as excited as I had imagined. Instead, it was calm. Like completing a planned task. There was no extraordinary joy. That night, after the celebration banquet ended, I walked alone along the river. The evening breeze was gentle against my face. The river glittered, reflecting the lights on both banks. My phone rang. Vanessa. Ethan, congratulations. Thank you. I saw the footage of you ringing the bell on the news. You're thinner, but you look well. How are you? I'm very well. The school built a new teaching building with the money you donated. The children are so happy. That's good. Ethan, I want to tell you something. Go ahead. I may be getting married. I froze. To whom? A new male teacher at our school. He also came to volunteer. He's 3 years younger than me. Very honest. Good to me. He is also good to the children. The children all like him. That's good. You're not angry, are you? Why would I be angry? I thought, you might mind. Vanessa, we are divorced. You have the right to pursue your own happiness. The other end fell silent for a few seconds. Ethan, you really are a good person. So are you. Then. I'll hang up. Okay. I wish you happiness. You too. After hanging up, I stood by the river and looked at the distant lights. My heart felt a little empty. But more than that, it felt relieved. She had finally found her own happiness. I should let go too. I turned and walked back. The river wind was a little cool on my face. But my heart was warm. Half a year later, I received a wedding invitation from Vanessa. Her wedding with that male teacher would be held at the mountain school. The invitation had a photo of them printed on it. They stood in front of the new teaching building, smiling brightly. I looked at the date. The 15th of next month. I did not attend the wedding. But I had a gift sent over. A full set of new teaching equipment, computers, projectors, and printers. After receiving it, Vanessa called me. Ethan, the gift is too expensive. On behalf of the children, thank you. It's not too expensive. As long as you can use it. You, really won't come? I won't. I have a project here and can't leave. All right. When summer vacation comes, I'll bring him to meet you. Okay. After hanging up, I looked out the window. The sunlight was good, spilling warmly through the glass. On my desk was a new project proposal. I opened it and began reading. My phone rang again. An unfamiliar number. I answered. Is this Mr. Ethan Ford? Yes. I'm a reporter from Time Finance. We'd like to schedule an interview about your thoughts on being named Entrepreneur of the Year. Sure. Coordinate with my assistant. Thank you, Mr. Ford. I hung up and continued reading the proposal. Outside, the sunlight grew brighter. Another new day had begun. my life also continued moving forward. No dramatic love. No earth-shaking revenge. Only ordinary days, and the determination to keep walking step by step. That was enough. On the weekend, I returned to my hometown. The osmanthus tree in the old courtyard had bloomed again, its fragrance rich. I moved a lounge chair beneath the tree and lay in the sun. Light filtered through the leaves in mottled patches. I closed my eyes, smelled the osmanthus, and listened to the birds. My phone vibrated. A message from Vanessa. It was a photo. In the photo, she wore a white wedding dress, standing on the school playground. The man beside her wore a black suit and held her hand. Children surrounded them, holding flowers and smiling brightly. Caption: "Thank you for helping me find myself." I looked at the photo and smiled. Then I replied, "Congratulations. I wish you both a lifetime of happiness." She replied with a smiling emoji. I set the phone aside and continued sunning myself. The scent of osmanthus filled the air. I took a deep breath and felt satisfied. Life is like this. There is loss, and there is gain. There is pain, and there is joy. What matters is that no matter what you experience, you keep moving forward. I closed my eyes and slowly fell asleep. In the dream, I saw Chairman Sterling. He sat in the old courtyard, waving a palm fan and smiling at me. "Kid, you've grown up." "Dad, I did it." "I know. I always knew." He stood and patted my shoulder. "Live well." "I will." He smiled, then turned and disappeared into the sunlight. I opened my eyes. The sunlight was just right. The scent of osmanthus remained. The birds were still singing. Everything was good. I stood, stretched, and walked into the house. Then I brewed myself a cup of tea. Steam rose gently in the afternoon sunlight. I lifted the cup and took a sip. A little bitter, but sweet in the aftertaste. Just like life. That's all for today's story. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment.